I knew he was a good human being, and that was one of the things that's always been important to Vince was, hey, is he the right human being? And AJ was the right human being. And once he got there and got introduced to Vince, and Vince saw him, Vince was like, oh, he's my little pit bull.
All right, so we have traveling down memory lane, ladies and gentlemen. So working in TNA, let's talk about AJ Styles. Did any of either of you imagine AJ Styles becoming a top WWE star? That's number one. That's the first question. And number two, just a general thought of where AJ Styles is now. He came into the Royal Rumble, huge pop, became world champ early in his run, and now he's just really middle of the road. I mean, just someone like an AJ Styles being used in such a poor way. We'll start with Vince this time. What are your thoughts on just, did you imagine, because you work with AJ a lot, would you imagine AJ being a top WWE star, and what do you think just overall of where he is right now?
Bro, you got to understand, like I was there early in his career. Yep. Brian was there much later in his career. But bro, you got to understand, I work with a guy that was only a couple of years from the trailer park, very Southern, very rough around the edges. Bro, at times you couldn't even understand him. The accent was so heavy. I'm talking about the early years. But Chris, the one thing that always stood out to me about AJ was,
real quick, Vince, were you there when he was in WCW too, the latter parts?
No.
Like Air Paris? Okay.
No, I was not. The one thing about AJ though, bro, that'll always stand out with me, and I'll never forget this, bro, was AJ is a Christian man through and through. Brian, I'll never forget this. This has stayed with me for, my gosh, it must have been 2002. So it's been like 20 years ago. AJ's from Gainesville, Georgia.
Yep.
Me and my wife went to his church at Gainesville, Georgia with him and his wife. I went to his church. I swear to God, Chris, back before COVID where it's time to shake everybody's hands. Mm-hmm. Bro, he literally held up the service because AJ got up, and bro, this was not AJ Styles, WWE superstar at the time. This is AJ just starting out in the business. He got up, Chris, went through every single person in that church and shook their hand.
Nice.
And when I saw that, I knew like this is a special man, and he never got away from that. And come on, Brian, how easy is it to get away from that in the wrestling business? He never ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Brian. You had him.
Man, it's AJ's just a great human being. Look, he came back when I was writing SmackDown, and I got him on SmackDown, and I was thankful for that because I fought. Literally fought for him to get hired there. I had known of him. I knew he was from Georgia. I knew everything about him. I'd seen his career in TNA. A lot of times Vince is in that WWE bubble and doesn't know about these guys. So I knew what AJ was capable of and what he brought to the table. So one of the first big arguments me and Vince got in was over AJ Styles. He didn't see or know what to think, and I pushed a little too hard, trying to say that he was over. You know what I mean? And he let me know that nobody's over working at TNA and blah blah blah. The same stuff I probably would say today. So he wasn't out of line, but we got in an argument about AJ. I've always believed in AJ. I never knew how far he'd go, but I knew he was a good human being, and that was one of the things that's always been important to Vince was, hey, is he the right human being? And AJ was the right human being. And once he got there and got introduced to Vince, and Vince saw him, Vince was like, oh, he's my little pit bull. So he loved him then, you know what I mean? But let's talk about how they're using him today. Mm-hmm. Look, I think it's totally his age. I think that's they got rid of me, they got rid of Scotty, they got rid of all these people that are older. They got rid of a lot of talent that are older. AJ's so good that they kept him even though he was older, because he still works at an incredible level, head and shoulders above, I would say 95% of wrestlers in the world.
Yep.
He's so good, and he still works. The thing about AJ Styles is he still works like it's real. He still works like everything he's getting hit with or hitting somebody with is real, and that got lost on a lot of people a long time ago. Can't say enough great stuff about AJ Styles.
So my counter to that, Brian, is, Edge being 48, he's having this big old promo, to return. Lashley being, 45, Lesnar being 44. Like, those people are still relevant, very relevant in the business, despite being mid to late 40s. Why isn't AJ a part of that, kind of still relevant, group of people in their mid to late 40s?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you got a great point there. I don't know why he's not, but he's been there. You know what I mean? He's been the champ. He's been all the champions.
Brian, is it that? I mean, this is the AJ I know. You got the older AJ, but the AJ I knew, bro, he was not going to be the squeaky wheel. And if you're not the squeaky wheel, that could hurt you. Was he
up
like
there?
That? Was he
No, he was not the squeaky wheel. He would, however, speak his mind, and he had a good relationship with Vince once he got there. And so he would go sit with Vince, and they would talk, and he would come away feeling better about everything. And so him and Vince got along. I'm sure they still do,
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this guy right here is WWE Hall of Famer, the Road Dogg, Brian James.
Oh, you didn't know?
To your right of him is former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, and I will say it again and again and again. It is in a record books, and as my friend, shout out to Black Bart, a friend of mine, ain't a daggum thing you can do about it. So. Vince Russo.
Who doesn't love Black Bart? When Black Bart was in Continental, he lived in his van on the 3 Mile Bridge, and we used to go out there and go fishing with him all the time. Nice. That's a great story.
I've actually called Black Bart live before, and if he answers, I want Sports Kid to keep this up right now.
Okay.
I want Sports Kid to keep this right now. Oh no, man, that's he gave me a different number though. Oh, that would have been dope if I would have been able to call Black Bart.
I just saw him not long ago. I guess it was in Dallas.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I saw Black Bart, and it was great to catch up with him. He said, "You remember you had a crush on my wife?" I said, "No, I don't remember that." I'm sorry, dude. I was 14.
Where did that go?
I don't even know. I didn't realize I did that, but I stared at his wife or something.
He had a crush on me. Like he remembered that.
He remembered that. Later. Yeah. You little son of a beast.
Had a crush on my wife. When I see Road Dogg, the one thing I remember is that he had a crush on my wife. All right, ladies and gentlemen. I just called him. I don't remember what his new number is, but I just called him recently, and probably a couple months ago. And I was on my show, and I called him live because a lot of people, my Pancakes and Power Stamp show, people love Black Bart because I've had him on my show so much. And I called him live, and he was just he popped for it, man. He was like, "Man, I can't believe this, man. I can't."
He's like, "What are you doing a podcast? You casted? Are y'all fishing? What are y'all doing over there?"
As long as you're not talking about my wife, it's all right.
You son of a Road Dogg. Why I oughta.
Ladies and gentlemen, Road Dogg, Vince Russo, Dr. Chris. This is the Wrestling Outlaws. Have a good night, everybody.
Pew, pew. Good night.
The